Was Columbus really the first bridge between continents? For centuries, official history has assured us the same. The New World and the Old World lived completely isolated, separated by vast oceans, until Christopher Columbus's voyage in 1492. According to the books, it was then, and only then, that two entire hemispheres finally came face to face. But, over the years, small cracks have begun to appear in that seemingly hermetic story. And the questions multiply. Was Columbus really the first bridge between continents, or it is possible that long before, the Mayans, those master astronomers and navigators of knowledge, had crossed the mares, carrying and bringing secrets that time tried to bury? Let's start with the obvious. The Mayans, inhabitants of the vast Mesoamerican jungle, are famous for having built one of the most sophisticated civilizations on the American continent. Its pyramids have defied time. Their calendars astonish even modern astronomers, and their trade routes stretched from the jungles of Yucatan to the mountains of Central America. But how far did their paths really go? There are enigmas that still baffle archaeologists and linguists. Some Mayan temples are adorned with images of strange plants and animals that, according to all records, should not exist in the Americas. For example, reliefs from Palenque and Jac Chilon feature representations of pineapples, chickens, and even stylized elephants. Skeptics claim that these are artistic coincidences or misinterpretations, but others argue that the similarities are too striking to be ignored. Let's take the tamarind plant. According to botanists, it is native to Africa and Asia, and there is no official record of its existence in America before the arrival of Europeans. However, archaeological findings in the Yucatan Peninsula suggest the presence of tamarind pods with considerably older data. The same is true of bamboo, which has been found in pre-Hispanic archaeological contexts. How did those species get there? The enigma intensifies when analyzing the language. Specialists have detected striking similarities between certain Mayan terms and words from Southeast Asia. For example, the Mayan word balam means jaguar, while in certain Southeast Asian dialects, balam or similar variants designate animals or feline qualities. Is this a simple linguistic coincidence? Philology experts caution that languages may share roots or sounds simply through parallel evolution, but the coincidence is at least notable. But it's not just words that tell us an alternative story. Genetic traces have been identified in the astonishing genetic map of American populations that do not seem to fit the traditional narrative. Recent studies have found genetic markers in indigenous communities in the Amazon and Patagonia that show unexpected similarities with populations in Oceania, especially Polynesia. These remains are inconclusive, but they raise an uncomfortable question. How did these lineages reach America if traditional routes only included migrations through the Bering Strait? Theories multiply. One of the most daring theories holds that the Mayans and other Mesoamerican cultures would have been capable of building sturdy vessels, large canoes or rafts capable of navigating the open sea. It is known that the wooden mesh canoes of Siva could measure more than 15 meters in length and carry dozens of people, even merchandise. Chronicles of the conquistadors described with all these ships traveling long distances through the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. What prevented navigators as skilled and curious as the Mayans from venturing beyond the known horizon? On the other hand, some researchers propose a reverse route. They were sailors from the Far East or even Polynesia, who arrived on the American coasts long before Columbus. In Maori mythology and other oceanic traditions, ancient voyages to a distant, mysterious land in the east are told, rich in resources. Some Polynesian navigators were famous for their voyages between distant islands, guided by the stars, seabirds, and ocean currents. We know today that the Polynesians colonized all the Pacific Islands, reaching as far as Easter Island and possibly the South American coast. Indirect evidence seems to support this astonishing early contact. Remains of sweet potatoes, a tuber native to South America, have been found in excavations in Polynesia and date back to before the arrival of Europeans. The presence of Polynesian-type chickens on the Chilean coast prior to Columbus reinforces the hypothesis that exchanges did take place, although it is difficult to determine the exact direction of the voyage. But what about the Mayans? What tools, knowledge and motivations would they have to undertake such an adventure? This is where Mayan astronomy plays a central role. The Mayans observed the sky with astonishing precision, predicted eclipses, and guided their agricultural cycles according to the stars. For maritime civilizations, mastery of the firmament was essential for ocean navigation. If he could navigate by the stars and build sturdy ships, which for many is a fantasy, it could well have been a reality. The records of European chroniclers upon could well have been a reality. Arriving in America recognized not only the navigational ability of the native peoples, but also local legends about men coming from the sea and contacts with foreigners of different appearance and customs. Some codices and murals show images of exotically dressed figures, with headdresses and clothing reminiscent of Asian styles, artistic symbolism, echoes of ancient visitors, or mythical memories of royal encounters. Hypotheses abound, but absolute confirmation eludes us. Traditional archaeology requires compelling material evidence, such as a fragment of Asian pottery on American soil before 1492, or perhaps the remains of a Mayan vessel adrift in Asia. To date, no such findings have emerged. However, the accumulation of coincidences and disturbing clues continues to grow, encouraging the curiosity of scientists and adventurers alike. For many, the idea of an ancient world filled with travel and intercultural contact before Columbus is unacceptable. For others, it is simply inevitable. Mathematics, ocean current routes, the existence of favorable winds, and increasingly clear evidence of ancient peoples' navigational abilities suggest that absolute separation between continents may have been the exception rather than the rule. Imagine for a moment the magnitude of that possible encounter. The Mayans travel to distant lands, contemplate new species, discover botanical secrets, and bring with them seeds, customs, words, and legends. Upon his return, all this heritage merges into Mesoamerican culture, leaving subtle but indelible traces. The Polynesians, risking their lives in search of new islands, arrive on unknown shores and share knowledge, food, and technology before embarking on their return journey. Each theory would force us to rewrite history, to accept that the ancients were not as limited or fearful as we were once led to believe. Mayan travelers in Asia, Polynesians in America. Worlds much more connected than we imagine. Each hypothesis challenges the image of a primitive and isolated world. What we know today is little compared to all that remains to be discovered. The traditional story of a closed and solitary world before the arrival of Europeans no longer stands up to the weight of new evidence. Perhaps Columbus was not the first, perhaps he only opened a door that others had already opened centuries before. The Mayans in their quiet greatness may have been much more than guardians of pyramids. Perhaps they were cosmic messengers, explorers of wonder, capable of connecting continents long before the echo of the caravels resonated on the horizon. History still holds many secrets. It's up to us to open our eyes, holding the question and continuing to explore, because hidden truths only appear to those who dare to look beyond what is apparent. Subscribe to discover more mysteries and delve into the invisible connections of our history.